Why is it always on us to babysit grown men with bombs? You'd think with nukes and jets and decades of bloodshed behind them, maybe, just maybe, they could stop acting like divorcees fighting over who left the milk out. Sometimes peace doesn't come from hugging it out in Geneva. Sometimes it comes from making your enemy realize that the sky can fall on their head in 90 seconds if they cross the line. Trump didn't start a war. He stopped one. He acted with precision, purpose, and zero dead Americans. If that bothers you, maybe your protesting is not about peace. Maybe it's just about hating Trump more than you love your own country. All right, hey guys, I'm back. I'm going to talk to you about this ceasefire. I'm trying to keep up with all this. Well, they're calling it a ceasefire, but it's not peace. It's just a commercial break between missile launches. While Iran reloads, Israel double checks the GPS on its next airstrike. This seems to be continuing. Donald Trump gave them 60 days. Iran. On day 61, he struck. Now, the world's pretending to act surprised. Like they didn't know this was coming. The second Tehran hit snooze on nuclear diplomacy. Israel's dropping bombs like it's Black Friday. Iran's crying victim with uranium in the trunk. And half of Washington wants to impeach Trump for doing what every other president is too gutless to do. You've got protesters waving enemy flags, politicians quoting hashtags, and world leaders offering thoughts and prayers instead of solutions. Meanwhile, Trump's the only one who's pissed at both sides. Because someone has to be the adult in the room, a room full of delusional arsonists and national anthems. This isn't about left or right. It's not about Zionists or martyrs. It's about who's bluffing, who's bombing, and who's going to regret both. It's June 25th, 2025. This is Stay in the Great podcast. Let's roll. The timing of the ceasefire. All right, ceasefire was supposed to take effect on June the 24th at 4 a.m. Tehran time. That's 8:30 p.m. Eastern time on the 23rd. For those of us living in the real world. Trump made the announcement at 6:02 p.m. here, 2.5 hours ahead of time, giving both sides plenty of notice to zip it. But right on cue, missile sirens start blaring in northern Israel just minutes after the ceasefire.
In Israeli military says Iran has fired missiles towards its territory. Through a post on social media, IDF said sirens are sounding in northern Israel. Sirens sounded in northern Israel due to missile fire from Iran. This minutes after US President Donald Trump said that a ceasefire between Israel and Iran is in place and asked both countries to not violate it.
Boom. Israel immediately strikes back, targeting radar systems near Tehran.
Northern city of Babysitting attacked by Israel. The Israeli army radio saying military attacked Iranian radar near Tehran.
And then comes the finger pointing. Iran says, "We didn't shoot anything. It was them." Israel says, "They fired first." Iran's foreign minister Abbas Araghchi, I got that right, Araghchi, chimes in with the diplomatic equivalent of, "You hang up first. No you. No you." Saying they'd only honor the truce if Israel stopped bombing exactly by the 4 a.m. deadline. Spoiler alert, they didn't. So here we are, a ceasefire with a built-in asterisk. It's like two toddlers arguing over who started the fight while they both keep slapping at each other. Let's be real, both sides are testing Trump. They want to see if he'll flinch, if he'll strike back again, or if he'll blink while the world watches. But why is this on us again, the US? Why is it always on us to babysit grown men with bombs? You'd think with nukes and jets and decades of bloodshed behind them, maybe, just maybe, they could stop acting like divorcees fighting over who left the milk out. But no, they poke, they prod, escalate, and then toss the blame like it's hot. Here's a stat for you. Since 2020, Iran has enriched uranium to 60% purity, just short of weapons grade. They now have enough material for 3 to 5 nuclear warheads, depending on configuration. according to the IAEA, the International Atomic Energy Agency. So yeah, Trump waited 60 days, he warned him, he gave him a deadline, and on day 61, he did what everyone else is too afraid to do. He hit the red button before Iran could finish building theirs. But sure, let's blame him because Israel and Iran can keep their missiles in their pants for 8 fucking hours. Will Israel hold up? Let's talk about Israel, the one country that somehow manages to be both a target and a loose cannon at the same time. Israel's official stance will honor the ceasefire if Iran does. The translation is, we'll stop punching if they stop breathing. Not exactly the path to peace. And here's where Trump proved again that he's not the warmonger the left wants to paint him as. He ordered strikes on Iran, yes, because they were enriching uranium past 60% and playing coy about it, despite 60 days of warning. That was a military strike, not an emotional tantrum. It was a precision hit, surgical, targeted at nuclear infrastructure. No mass casualties, no carpet bombing, no dead civilians, and no downed planes. Just a clear message. We said don't build nukes. You kept building. Boom. Now contrast that with Israel. Hours before the ceasefire took effect, they dropped what looked like a clearance sale round of bombs. Almost like they were just trying to get their last licks in before the buzzer. Trump saw it, and he did not stay quiet. Standing outside the White House, he looked visibly pissed and said the quiet part out loud, dropping his own F-bomb, if you will. He said, "You've got two countries who have been fighting so long, they don't know what the fuck they're doing."
We basically have two countries that have been fighting so long and so hard that they don't know what the fuck they're doing. Do you understand that?
I admire him for actually saying the words. Sometimes it's needed. But overall, he wasn't issuing a vague plea to both parties. He was staring straight at Israel. And for everyone who always screams, Trump will never stand up to Israel, guess what? He just did. Because this isn't about allegiance, it's about control. It's about who's actually playing for peace and who's just playing war for sport. Yes, Israel has been an ally to the US for a long time. But right now, they're acting like the kid who gets caught cheating in a board game and says, all right, but just one more move. At some point, the US has to say, enough. Let Israel stand on its own 2 feet. Militarily, diplomatically, strategically. They've got one of the strongest armies in the world, the Iron Dome, and enough American tech to run a small planet. We don't need to keep footing the bill, taking the blame when they act out. Do not twist this. That does not mean leaving Jewish Americans behind. Right now, they're under attack in our own cities, doxxed, harassed, screamed at by protest mobs who couldn't name one Knesset member if you paid them. You want to protest foreign policy? That's cool. I think it's a waste of your time, but sure, go ahead. Stop taking it out on Jewish kids walking class to class. Stop pretending every Jewish American is an extension of Netanyahu's war. You're not woke. You're a threat to civil peace. So yeah, Trump dropped bombs with purpose. Israel dropped bombs with impulse. One was strategy and one was noise. And Trump's message to both sides: cut the bullshit. Ceasefire means cease fire. Not loopholes, not late night missile therapy. You're not testing each other anymore. You're testing him now. And you're not going to like the result. Before anyone gets it all twisted, yes, I just called out Israel. I said they were reckless in the hours before the ceasefire. They were. I said they should stand on their own. They should. But let's be crystal clear. Iran is not the victim, and I'm not supporting them. They're not the oppressed. They're not the morally superior side of anything. Iran is the single largest sponsor of terrorism on the planet. They bankroll Hezbollah, fund Hamas, back militias in Iraq, Syria, Lebanon, and even arm proxy cells in Africa. They don't fight fair. They fund chaos. They hide behind civilians, mosques, schools, and press badges. And now they want nuclear weapons? That's a hard pass. This isn't a gray area issue. Iran with nukes is a red line for any rational person. You don't let a real authoritarian theocracy, one that chants death to America before breakfast every day, you don't let him gain nuclear capability. You stop it, by force if necessary. Because if you don't, you're not just letting them build bombs. You're handing them to Hezbollah with a smile. So no, this isn't a defense of Iran at all. It's a warning. Get your shit together or get flattened. You want to play nuclear chicken with Donald Trump? You will lose. And no, there will not be a ground invasion. You'll just wake up one day and find your military wiped out and your program buried under 6 feet of "we told you so." So to anyone out there flying Iranian flags, pretending this is some kind of righteous resistance, get real. This isn't about human rights. It's about Iran's ambition to become the world's most dangerous regime. And Trump made it clear. Fuck around and find out. I'm going to flip the script briefly. I've got to talk about this. I want to analyze how the world's reacting to all of this and to Donald Trump. So let's rewind 24 hours. Pakistan, a country that's constantly balancing between instability and full-blown chaos. And I say that knowing full well that I have some very, very good friends of mine that live in Pakistan. I admire them greatly, and I look forward to speaking with them so that I can be educated on how their side of the world thinks about things. They might not fully agree with the statement I just made, but they can take it. They're tough. So Pakistan nominated Trump for the Nobel Peace Prize. Why? Because he de-escalated tensions between India and Pakistan over Kashmir. Foreign Minister, let's see if I get this right, Ishaq Dar, literally praised him, Trump, as a force of balance in South Asia. Peace Prize nomination, stamped. Fast forward one day. One. And the same Pakistan is now condemning Trump's missile strike on Iran, calling it a serious violation of international law. Cool. So when Trump keeps 2 nuclear-armed neighbors from going full Fallout 4, India and Pakistan, he's a saint. But when he stops another nuclear threat before it's fully born, now he's a war criminal? Pick a lane, Islamabad. You're not a weather app. This is the same diplomatic schoolyard nonsense we always see. You praise the man when he fits your narrative, but clutch your pearls when he does the hard thing that no one else has the spine to do. You don't have to like Trump to admit one thing. He gets results. And sometimes peace doesn't come from hugging it out in Geneva. Sometimes it comes from making your enemy realize that the sky can fall on their head in 90 seconds if they cross the line. There's a reason Trump brokered peace deals in the Middle East, calmed India and Pakistan, held off Russia and Ukraine, kept North Korea from lighting up Japan, and still had time to call out China's bullshit. All without starting a single war. Let me say that again for the TikTok crowd in the back. Not one new war. He's an America First president. That doesn't mean America only. It means America's interests come first, keeps other countries from blowing each other off the map and dragging us into it. So yeah, he dropped a missile on Iran's nuclear site because he gave him 60 days. And when the clock hit 0, he did what every globalist coward refuses to do. He enforced the line. So maybe the Nobel Peace Committee should stop pretending peace means sitting on a pillow and sipping tea. Sometimes peace means you take the shot, so no one else has to. Let's come back over here to the US and the domestic meltdowns. Here we are again. So Trump drops a precise, effective, legally justified strike on a declared enemy, and half the country acts like he just firebombed a daycare. But before we torch the usual suspects, let's talk about a surprise MVP for the moment. John Fetterman. Yes, that John Fetterman, the hoodie-wearing, meme-friendly Democrat from Pennsylvania. He was the first Senate Democrat to publicly back Trump's decision. He said the following: that was entirely appropriate. Iran is the world's leading sponsor of terrorism.
And Senator John Fetterman of Pennsylvania, who says this was the correct move by POTUS. Iran is the world's leading sponsor of terrorism and cannot have nuclear capabilities.
I'm grateful and salute the finest military in the world. Credit where credit's due. Besides our wonderful military, from what I've heard and seen, that was incredible. The strike and the stealth involved and just how precise it was. So that is something that we should all salute. But credit where credit's due beyond that. Fetterman showed more backbone in 30 seconds than half of Congress has in 30 years. Meanwhile, the GOP, most of them did the expected thing. Thune, Cruz, McCormick, they backed Trump loud and clear. Of course, there are a few usual suspects that wandered off the reservation. We had Marjorie Taylor Greene. She said, "It's not our fight." And of course, Tucker Carlson raised his eyebrow hard enough to power a wind turbine. There is division within the party on this issue, and that's okay. We'll talk it out. Sometimes it gets a little heated, but I think what this has proven is that we're allowed to disagree with each other even though we're on one side or the other. That's the whole point of this show. So I admire Marjorie Taylor Greene, Tucker, everybody that disagrees for bringing it up, as long as it's respectful and we talk about it. Now let's go to the other corner of the circus. I'm going to call it CARE. I don't know if that's how people say it, but it's the Council on American Islamic Relations. That seems necessary. They said the strike was illegal and unjustified. You don't say. And they even claimed, get this, Iran wasn't seeking nuclear weapons. I mean, is this satire? I had to go back and kind of make sure that this wasn't some sort of joke. This is Iran we're talking about. The country that's enriched uranium to 60%, built underground facilities in the mountains, and literally said death to America like it's their campaign slogan. But sure, CARE. I'm sure they were just working on clean energy. But wait, it gets even dumber. We now have sitting politicians, some of the usual suspects, and people who allegedly read the Constitution for a living. They're calling for Trump's impeachment over the strike. For what? Doing his job? You can't just scream impeachment because you don't like somebody. You guys would say you want to impeach him if he ate something you didn't like for breakfast. These people are sobbing because he didn't go through Congress first. Well, newsflash, he didn't have to. Why would he go to that swamp of cackling drama queens anyway? They're just going to fight him. Under the War Powers Resolution, a president can take military action without prior congressional approval if there's an immediate threat to national security. And if you don't believe me, go check out the Obama-era bomb tracker. That man dropped ordnance in 7 countries without a single former declaration of war. Libya, Syria, Somalia, Iraq, Pakistan, Afghanistan, and Yemen. Guess what? He won a Nobel Peace Prize before he even laced up the first drone strike. Trump waited 60 days. Again, I've said it over and over. He issued warnings. He hit military infrastructure with 0 casualties. And you want to impeach him? Just shut up. You're not defending the Constitution. You're just mad that Trump is in charge and that he's crushing it. If you're one of the social media warriors waving Iranian flags in Times Square, shouting death to Zionists like it's open mic night for Hamas groupies, here's the part you'll hate the most. Trump didn't start a war. He stopped one. He acted with precision, purpose, and 0 dead Americans. If that bothers you, maybe your protesting is not about peace. Maybe it's just about hating Trump more than you love your own country. So here's the deal. U.S. intelligence analysts are now saying this strike only set Iran's nuclear program back by a handful of months. Didn't obliterate it. The Defense Intelligence Agency confirms there were hits on Fordo, Natanz, and Isfahan.
President Trump announcing the U.S. bombed 3 of Iran's nuclear sites caught many in Congress by surprise.
And we have severely damaged Iran's critical nuclear infrastructure.
Guess what? The core centrifuges still spinning. Uranium already hidden underground. In short, months, not years, of delay. Trump threw a punch, but Iran's still standing. Meanwhile, Iran's out here calling the strike a heinous crime, with Foreign Minister Araghchi warning of everlasting consequences and demanding the UN Security Council step in. They're petitioning for a statement condemning the U.S., enforcement of actions under international law, and maybe even sanctions. Hell, some hardliners in Tehran are literally saying, we need nukes to protect ourselves now. Can't make it up. So where do we go? We monitor it. If Iran rebuilds, we hit again. We hold the line. Let diplomacy follow enforcement, not the other way around. And get serious. Because if we don't, months turn into years, trips to targets turn into treaties, and the world gets nuked. So let's talk about the world response, and what can possibly happen. I'll say it again. I'll say it out loud. Iran is not done. The strikes delayed their nuclear program by a few months. Not a year, not forever. Just long enough for the headlines to cool off and the centrifuges to start humming again under some mountain near Qom. So what happens if Iran lies? What happens if they claim compliance, hand the UN a clean report, and then go right back to enriching uranium in some underground terror bunker? Does Trump strike again? He gave him 60 days. He delivered precision with 0 American casualties. So if they test him again, yeah, they'll probably flatten the next facility before their scientists even finish breakfast. But would the world back him again? That's the real question. Because this time around, support was shaky. Next time, it'll be worse. Why? Because now we've got a new chorus line of global peacemakers. And leading the choir, check this out, Vladimir Putin. Yes, Putin. The man actively flattening Ukrainian cities like he's building a parking lot in Kyiv. He's now offering diplomatic mediation between Israel and Iran. That's like a serial arsonist offering to teach fire safety. Putin doesn't care about peace. He cares about leverage. And while the US watches Tehran, he gets more room to breathe in Ukraine. How about China? They condemned the US strike, because of course they did.
Yeah, Beijing's response has been very consistent. It hasn't really changed. It's condemned Israel's attack. It's also condemning the U.S. attacks as well. There is a Global Times editorial criticizing the U.S. for escalating tensions even further.
Warning it damaged our global credibility, and they are now urging restraint from Israel. This coming from the country that runs internment camps, spies on its citizens with social credit apps, and threatens to invade Taiwan twice before every breakfast. Their UN ambassador said all parties should avoid adding fuel to the fire. Sure, we'll get right on that. Right after you stop selling oil to Iran and pretending your AI drones aren't circling US bases in the Pacific. And then there's Europe, the good old EU. They trotted out Kalas, I think I said that right, Kaya Kalas, to say Iran must not be allowed to develop nuclear weapons, but all parties must return to the negotiating table. Translation: we want peace, but someone else should enforce it. Typical EU diplomacy. Long on words, short on spine. Germany's Merz said Israel was doing the dirty work, which is a polite European way of saying we support it, just don't make us say it out loud. How about the UK, France, Canada? All issued some combination of we agree with the goal, but not the method, which basically means don't make us pick a side. Then there's NATO. At the summit, Trump called out every single one of them, again, pushing for more defense spending and reminding them that peace doesn't come from summits. It comes from deterrence with teeth. You want to stop a nuclear Iran? Then maybe stop whispering de-escalate from across the ocean while Trump is the only guy doing the actual work. Let me break it down for the international community. Trump warned them, he acted, he hit military targets, and he didn't kill a single civilian. Iran is the bad actor. Israel is trigger happy. And Trump? He's the only one holding both sides accountable and keeping America first without dragging us into another 20-year war. So when Iran starts playing games again, and they will, don't pretend your hands are clean, world. You stalled, you lied, you condemned the only guy doing the job. And when Tehran starts spinning those centrifuges again, just remember, you had a chance to stop them. Trump took it. And if they push again, he will too. This time, you might not get a ceasefire. You'll get a crater. That's about it. Let's see what happens as we move forward. Every day it's something else. The statements I gave you from China and from Putin were today. So let's see what happens. These are my thoughts. If you're tired of this bullshit outrage in our country mostly, I don't care as much about it overseas, if you're annoyed by it, if you're done with the flag wavers, probably can't even find Iran on a map. If you believe peace sometimes requires strength and power, this is your show. We will get along just fine and you will enjoy this content. So give me a subscribe, drop a comment, let's talk. I want to hear everybody's thoughts on this. Open my eyes if you disagree, and let's push it together if you agree. Share it with someone who's like us, still got some brain cells left, and make sure, if you can, to please follow me on any platform you possibly have. Everything matters. The truth doesn't trend unless we push it together. This is Stay in the Gray podcast. No fluff, no filters. Try and stay laughing and smile. See you next time. Love you guys.